Hey YouTube, my name is Susie and this is my first video on this channel. I just got home from taking a walk, and while I was walking around, it struck me about making a video for this. I live full-time in an RV. I have done it for almost 11 years. And the one thing I notice in every RV park I've lived in, besides the fact that most of the people are older like I am, and most of the people, when you stop and talk to them, they say they're lonely or they're bored. And this is, I think, because when we retire and we no longer have a job, we feel like we don't have a purpose. Now, I know there are young people that feel lonely and bored, but I notice it a lot in the senior community. And me personally, my day is very full and I don't really have time to get bored or lonely. In fact, often at the end of the day, I say, where did the day go? I still wanted to do this, that, and the other. But I guess the thing I live by is I'm the star of this movie. This life is your movie. You're the main character. So if you want to live it your best, you have to do what makes you happy. And so the things that I'm going to tell you about today are the things that I like to do and generally are incorporated into my day pretty much every day. But for you, the list will be different, but maybe this will just get you to thinking what it is you really like, that you want to do, you've always wanted to do. You know, of course, we'd all like to travel and things like that, but oftentimes when you are retired, your social security is not very much like mine. So I live on a budget, but there are still things that I love to do. The first thing I like to do is I'm a crafter. I like to recycle things and make them into new objects, new items, or I need something. I look around and see, what do I have around here that I could make that with? I'm big into crafting. In fact, my other YouTube channel is a crafting channel. Another thing that I like to do is gardening. Gardening, it's expensive. I mean, it can be expensive to start off getting your pots and your soil and your seeds. But you could start off with just one pot and tomatoes this year, or tomatoes and peppers this year. Or you could, I'll put a link in the description on my other channel. I just did a video about making above ground beds out of the big tubs that you store stuff in. I had emptied a few of those and I cut them in half and used those for above ground beds. Fill them with dirt, and you know, you just set them on the ground and fill them with dirt. So gardening is a big thing for your time, because you know, you're always going out there to check to see if are there any ripe strawberries today. I got blackberries earlier in the spring that were just growing in my yard wild. They were already there. So I trained them up a fence, and I trained them up the fence last year, and it was the year they were just putting on canes because they generally only produce every other year. So this spring, I got to go out every morning and then again in the evening to see which berries had ripened and pluck them off. I put them all in the freezer. I actually got a pretty good harvest of berries. And another thing I like to do, I go outside with my coffee in the morning. I like to watch all the birds. They're really active right now. And even Jeffrey enjoys that. He always just sits in my lap and looks at them as they go. I put out a bird bath this year, so it's fun to watch them come get a drink. Some of them get off in it and waddle around. It's just a simple thing, but it's like I put on the coffee and I get dressed and ready to go outside. It's just a thing that I enjoy. Doesn't cost a thing to sit out there, and while I'm there I look at my flowers, check on my plants. When I get ready to come inside, I make a round and check all my plants, see if anything needs water, anything's got bugs on it. It's about filling up your time, but with things that you enjoy. Now, another thing, I don't exactly enjoy this, but it fills up my time as well, is I try to walk 2 miles a day. I was only making it about 3 times a week lately because I had so much going on, but I put it back on the agenda to really get after my walking. So I just put on my walking shoes, put Jeffrey's harness on, and away we go. He usually makes it about 1 lap around the RV park, and then I bring him back and I finish my other 5 laps. And you feel so wonderful when you're done, and it is so good for your health, especially as we age. You've got to keep moving. So that's another thing that takes time out of my day. Then if I'm not crafting or gardening, I like to watch YouTube videos to learn. Lately I've been learning about different countries, like living in Malaysia, living in the Bahamas. I binge watch a lot of those videos because it gives me something to work towards, something to look forward to. If I'm not doing that, I'm watching videos, like say my faucet broke and I want to learn how to fix it. YouTube is a virtual library of information. Like when we were young and we had the encyclopedias to learn, now we have YouTube where basically someone can teach you how to fix your faucet. So, and also being single and alone, I try to fix things myself, which I have done a lot of. And that's just another thing that I like to do. Let me see, I hadn't made a list. Collecting herbs. Now, I'm kind of a health nut, and I'm not trying to live forever. I'm just trying to be strong and healthy while I'm alive. So I have learned a lot about herbs, and a lot of them that are so good for you are growing wild. And I'm lucky enough that the RV park I live in, it has a big wooded section in the center. It's a circle with a big wooded section, and it's actually on 2 sides of the road, and the opposite side has the office. So they always keep it all mowed and weeded and everything, and we're kind of like an afterthought. So when our weeds and stuff are growing tall, it's perfect for me. I go around and I collect up different herbs, and then, you know, you can hang them to dry, or you can put them in the toaster oven on low and dry them out, store them in jars. And I try to drink tea in the evenings, like when I'm watching a movie or something. Make different kinds of tea every day because each herb has different health benefits. So that's a thing that kind of is time consuming and generally helpful as well. So if you're into that kind of thing, I've just been into it, probably about 3 years now. I started really learning about the herbs and the importance of them in our diet. I mean, it's medicine from God is the way I look at it. And they're just thrown here and thrown there, and you just go collect them up and get healthy. So what else do I have on here? Cooking. Since I am a health nut, I cook all of my meals. I try not to have processed food. Now, I'm just as weak as the next person, and sometimes I might just have to have Doritos or whatever. But generally, I cook every day, and I try to eat real food, you know, so I'm baking my chicken and peeling my carrots and all of that. So that takes time, but it's so much better for you, and it tastes delicious. I incorporate a lot of herbs, and so if you're really into cooking, you could look online and find recipes. There are a lot of good, I think one's called All Recipes that I'm subscribed to. I'm not sure, but there are several different recipe sites where you could just get your cooking on. Just every day you could try something new. So that's another one. Oh, bargain hunting. I don't do that all the time, but it is a thing I like to do. I like to go into town and go to the Goodwill and just, maybe I don't need a thing, but you go in there and you find some little gadget that you don't even know what it is, and then you figure it out and you just have to have it. So that's kind of a fun thing, and you can do it alone. And I'm a talker, so I'll just be talking to the person next to me and say, what is this thing and how does it work? And next thing you know, we're in a long conversation. In fact, earlier when I was walking, I try to just get my walk and get it over with, because I don't love to walk. By my last 2 laps, my legs are killing me. I'm sweating. I'm ready to just get inside. But a lady waved at me and I said, boy, it's humid out here. And then she came and started talking to me, and next thing you know, I had been there 15 minutes. She was telling me about her truck was broke down and her job was changing, and it was nice visiting, but I wanted to get my walk over with. So yeah, you never know where you're going to meet someone to have some conversation. I have 3 friends here in the park, 3 regulars that I talk to all the time. 2 of them because they have dogs and I have a dog. So our dogs play together. When Jeffrey and I are out walking, I'll stop and let him roughhouse with their dog. And the other one doesn't have a dog. He's just a nice person. He lives really close to me. So when I'm out walking, if they're outside, I stop and I chat with them. That's when I have my interaction with real people in real life. Otherwise, it's generally phone calls from my kids or things like that. My son is a truck driver, so he calls real regular. And sometimes I'm thinking, I'm ready to get off the phone, but I don't tell him that. I let him talk because he's trying to get his miles and he just wants to talk. So I don't really, I guess, have any leftover time for feeling lonely. It's not that I wouldn't like to have a partner, and there are occasions when I'm looking at the birds or bringing in stuff from the garden, and I think it would be nice to have somebody to share this with, but I don't dwell on it, and I'm not out there looking for someone. My life is full the way it is, so I don't really have time to be lonely. But another tip I would give you, besides being out walking, being good for your health, getting in the sun is really good for you. It's very healing. There's a doctor, he's a neurosurgeon, Dr. Jack Cruz, and he goes on several podcasts. I don't think he has a podcast himself, and he talks about the healing powers of the sun and the importance of getting out in the sun. He says first thing when you get up, like bypass the coffee and get outside. I don't bypass the coffee. I get the coffee and I get Jeffrey and then we get outside. But you'll just feel great when you're doing healthy things for your body. I mean, just automatically it's healing things in your body. The herbs, the sun, the walking. But you also feel good about yourself for having done it. Like the walks. I hate the walk. Every day I'll say, I still haven't walked. If I put it off and don't do it early, it's hanging over my head all day. But when I come in and I say, I did it, you just feel victorious. So, and also getting a dog. if you don't have a dog in your life, I've talked several people here in the park into getting a dog that they were adamant against it, but they were lonely. And I said, you will not be lonely if you get a dog. And they did it, and they are in love with their dogs, just like I am with Jeffrey. So you always have a partner. Jeffrey, he's a little dog. He's laying down. Let me see if I can get him. Come here, baby. He's 13 pounds. He's not that big, so he's small enough. He goes into, I live out in the country, so he goes into the little dollar store that's here close to the RV park. He goes into Walmart with me. I don't say he's a service dog or anything. I just, from when he was a little tiny baby, I just carried him in, and nobody said anything. So I just continued on, and nobody ever says a word. He just sits in the basket. He's a pretty chill little dog. He'll just sit there, and he sits in the little top part where the babies are supposed to go, and he's my baby, so he qualifies, right? So I hope you found something in this video to give you some ideas, some things to do to liven up your life. Another thing I like to do is I generally don't turn on the TV. I don't do the scrolling, but at the end of the day when I go to bed, I have a TV in my bedroom, and it goes on, and I'll watch like Jack Cruz videos. There's a couple different people I like to watch. Or I was really big on Yellowstone while that was on, and so now they have the new Dutton Ranch. It comes out with new episodes on Fridays. So sometimes I will make a big bowl of popcorn, all the butter and everything, and I'll sit here on the couch and I'll watch it in the living room. It's like, come on, Jeffrey, I'll get him up here, and I say, wait, we're going to have us a popcorn party. And I put on the show and we watch it. Or I lay in bed and watch without the popcorn. But some people like to play solitaire or different video games. You could do that while you're watching a movie. Just try to, maybe you have to make an actual list. Actually get a pen and paper like I did with my list. Like, what do I do every day? And I wrote it down. But you could say, what would I like to do every day? What's something that I can afford to do? Like the gardening. Start small with 1 pot or 2 pots and a little bag of dirt, a few seeds. You save your seeds every year. That's what I meant to say earlier. It's kind of expensive to get started if you start out big. On another video, I'll show y'all my yard. I just kept adding more pots, and now I've got a lot. But I save my seeds from year to year. Like the zinnias, I grow herbs and I grow flowers, and then some tomatoes and peppers. But I save the seeds for the next year. So the zinnias, they give you tons of seeds. I've shared them around the RV park to other people, and I still have tons. And they're gorgeous all summer. They bloom a lot. So if you're not into the vegetable gardening, maybe you want the flowers. So just some thoughts. I hope somebody gets helped by this video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.